And we're recording. So welcome to our Empathy Cafe on how might we design and implement XR empathic direct actions. We're going to, the agenda is we'll start with some going around, introducing ourselves. We'll have our topic, a little bit of an overview of our topic, discussion topic, and then if we need it, an introduction, how to do an empathy circle. And then we're gonna, if we have more people, we divide it into breakout rooms, but if just with 6 of us, we'll be in one room. And so that's, yeah, the gist of it. So let's see, let's start with introductions. I'm Edwin Rutsch. Just your name, where you're located, if you are part of XR, you know which XR group you're part of. I'm Edwin Rutsch from San Francisco Bay Area. I'm part of the San Francisco Bay Area XR group, as well as the XR Empathy Circle work group. And I'll just pick people on the screen here. Carolina, if you want to just introduce yourself.
My name is Carolina. I'm calling from Poland, Central Europe. I am a member of local Extinction Rebellion group. I'm also a member of International Support Team Regenerative Cultures working group. And I am a member of Empathy Circle team.
Great. Bill?
Hi, I'm Bill Filler. I'm here in the San Francisco Bay Area in California. And I'm a member of the Empathy 10 team. I'm also taking the XR facilitation training, and I'm a member of the XR Empathy Cafe.
Okay, Sally? You're muted.
My name's Sally Rodman. I've been doing empathy on and off for I don't know, 6 or 7 years, and just started the XR. I'm just in a couple of these groups right now, and anyway, I live in Cathy's Valley, California. It's kind of on the way to Yosemite. And yeah, just the XR Rebellion facilitators group, but I'm not a facilitator, obviously. But
not yet.
Learning.
You're working at it. Yeah, great. James?
Hi, I'm James in Syracuse, New York. I'm not affiliated with any XR groups, but I work on building support networks online, including one called Everyone Shut Up, where we join on what we have in common.
Thanks. Julie? And you're muted. There you go.
Yep. I'm Julieta. I live in Forest Park, Illinois for the past 20 years. And I have participated in some of the XR actions. And I recently joined in one of the nonviolent direct action trainings.
Okay, thanks. Ryan, welcome. You want to just check in your name, where you're located, and if you're part of any XR groups?
Ryan, I'm from Calgary, and I'm part of the XR Calgary group.
Okay, welcome. I just put in a link in there that's just to remind you this call is being recorded, as well as there's a link to a Google Doc that you can go to add any contact info and take any notes if you want to take notes. And there's a bit of a introduction overview of, you know, empathic direct action. So to begin with, I just wanted to give you an overview of the topic. Sorry for those who have seen this before. So for empathic direct, we wanted to just discuss, so there's some construction going on, I don't know if you're hearing that. So what this topic is, we're going to be using the empathy circle process to discuss how could we design empathic direct actions, which is actions that are based on listening, empathic listening, which is what we're going to be practicing in this group. You know, can we go out into the community, offer listening to the community, maybe have demands that politicians, CEOs, etc., take part in empathy circles. So we're just sort of discussing the different possibilities of what something like that could look like, as well as, you can also talk about, whatever is alive in you. So I just wanted to share a little video here that we have a new person, Kat. I don't know if I'm Kat. Sonia.
Katarzyna. Katarzyna. Yeah, Polish.
Would you like to just share your name and where you're located and any XR groups you're part of?
I am calling from Kraków. My name is Katarzyna. I just learned that you have the Zoom meeting, and that's it for now.
Okay, great. I'm just going to show a little sample
I'm
of
sorry,
what.
I just want to say that we are recording this this meeting. Katarzyna.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I'm just going to share a little video of what an empathic direct action could look like. So this was where we set up an event in Oakland, California, and this was after Trump was elected. There was like 16,000 people went to this rally, around this lake. They held hands, and we set up this empathy tent, which you can see. The audio is off. This empathy tent in the back. You can see we had listeners offering listening to the public. We had the empathy tent, and we worked together with this group called Sidewalk Talk that offers street level listening. So we had a row of 10 or 12 listeners, and then we had empty chairs on the other side, and people would sit down. We would offer listening to them. So we're looking at maybe doing some kind of direct actions where it's like XR listens. We just listen to the public to model constructive listening and sort of an empathic mindset. And we had, different like tables and stuff for the children. Even the children sat down, got some free listening, to talk about their issues. We have tents, with the big signs around it. And you can see we had just a variety of people from the community doing the listening. They had a little bit of training on how to do listening. And the practice we're doing here, the empathy circle practice, it sort of prepares you for being able to listen to the public like this. And this was the event. And after that, you can see two people hugging, which we probably won't be doing now with the coronavirus for everybody. So I don't know how much of these events we're going to be doing, coming up now with the coronavirus, but at least we can kind of talk about the possibilities of designing something like this. And then just checking who has not. Oh, we have Alex. Do you want to just introduce yourself, Alex?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we do hear you.
Yeah, Alex from Manchester, UK. Yeah, I don't know what to quite say myself. I've joined late, I'm sorry. So just interested, I think, heard you speak before, Edwin, about XR listens. So I don't know a great deal about the empathy tent and empathy circle, so just here to find out a little bit more.
Okay. Well, it is participatory. You'll have a chance to take part in the empathy circle process. Have you seen or are you familiar with how to do an empathy circle?
I went on some online meetup recently about facilitating, I can't remember how it was described, but not an empathy circle as such, but a structured workshop, I think.
Okay, well, I'll give a little primer and how this works. Sometimes I show the video, but since we're a smaller group, I'll just explain. So in this process, we're going to divide into 2 circles. There'll be a facilitator in each one. And we have the topic, and can you put the link in there to the Google Doc? Carolina, would you just repost that? So there's a link to a Google Doc. You can see some questions to address and the topic. And so, thanks. So with this process, one person is going to speak. They're going to select who they're going to speak to. And you can speak on the topic or just whatever's alive in you. And then the person who's listening is going to, you'll pause and you'll reflect back. They'll reflect back what they hear you say. And then you'll speak some more. And then they'll reflect back. We have 5-minute turns for that. And then once the 5 minutes is up, or you feel like you have nothing else to say, you can say something like, I feel fully heard, which means your turn comes to an end. And then it's the listener's turn to speak. They'll select who they're going to speak to. And then that listener reflects back. We just go around for the time allotted, which is going to be about an hour and a half or a little bit more. So I won't go too much into the process. When we go into the circles, we can start with someone speaking to the facilitator. You can just pick up sort of how the process works just by observation. So let me actually divide the groups here. I'm going to create 2 breakout rooms manually, and breakout, sorry. Oh, it's not recreate. Oh, 2 rooms, sorry about this. Usually I show the video. And so do you want to facilitate room 2, Bill? And Carolina, do room 1. And I'll be in room 1. And we'll have Katrina and Alex, and we'll put, it could be James, Julie, Brian, room 2, and I think we're set 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so it'll be Alex, Carolina, Katarit, you can pronounce it, and Ryan will be in the first one, Bill, James, Julie, and Sally in the second one. Oh, actually, I'm going to move 1 person. Yeah. So, and Bill, you'll record the second one. So here we go. So we're going to go into all the rooms and we'll just get started. Please.
Do we expect 1 more person?
Yeah, why? Ryan didn't join. Huh. Somehow in the...
Let's wait for...
I don't know if they dropped out or what. They say that for some reason, I guess we just get started.
Okay, so maybe let's start model the process.
Oh, there they are.
Okay. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, Edwin, we seem to have lost Julie.
Yeah, I see that the other person didn't. Oh, Julie, huh? Yeah, for some reason she's Nina. Well, here's another person that just assigned to 2. Somebody just joined, so see if they come into here.
Yeah, it's good to have 4, you know.
Yeah, somehow there seems to be a problem with them not. They're listed here, but they're, oh, there they come.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Oh, now they're back. Somehow
Okay.
there's something was keeping them from joining. I don't know what
Huh.
it is.
Okay. I'm good then. Thanks.
Okay, great. We got the.
Who would like to start? First speaking, and I will model active listening. Edwin, since you are here, maybe we both start
Okay.
as the first
I'll
pair.
speak to you to model it. Are you timekeeping?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm ready.
Yeah, so on empathic direct action, there's been a lot of, within XR, the direct nonviolent direct action is a big part of it. But one thing that's sort of missing for that is sort of this focus on listening, I think, and dialogue. So, for example, our local XR group is going to the banks, the Chase banks, and they're just doing actions in front of the banks and in the banks, but they're not asking for an empathy circle with the CEO or the director of that bank. So I would like to see like more dialogue and empath, and that be one of the demands is that, hey, we would like to have an empathic dialogue with the bank president or whoever of the local bank.
So you mentioned that in XR there is this idea of NVDA, nonviolent direct action, and XR is doing a lot of such actions. But you think that the one element is missing in nonviolent direct action, which is dialogue and listening, and you would like to organize the event in a way there is this element included. And for example, you mentioned your local group that organizes a nonviolent direct action in front of the banks.
Chase Bank, Chase Manhattan, the big bank.
Okay, so they organize in front of the banks, they organize their actions, but you think that, but you would like to see a dialogue, an established dialogue between activists and, for example, some presidents or CEOs of the bank, and to see they communicating.
Yeah, it would be one of the demands. It's not only a demand that you divest from oil, because the banks are putting a lot of money into oil companies, but the other demand is that we want to have an empathy circle. We're doing what we're doing right here with you to talk about our demands and also to help bridge divides.
Okay, so for example, the main demand is to stop supporting fossil fuels companies by banks. The demand is for banks to stop supporting those fossil fuels companies, but you would like to see another demand, establishing dialogue. That's
with like the president of the bank to take part in an empathy circle to dialogue, not just to go and shame them, which is one thing, but also to request a dialogue.
Oh, okay. So you think that it should be a demand of XR to demand an empathic dialogue, an empathy circle, not just to shame CEOs or presidents or whoever is on the top of those banks, but also to sit down in a circle and dialogue.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel fully heard. Thank you.
Okay. So as you see, Edwin ended his speaking before the time is up. It's happened sometimes. If we want to end earlier, it's possible. So now it's my turn. I become a speaker and I choose another listener. Katarzyna, Can I choose you as an active listener? Okay. You are muted, Katarzyna. Unmute yourself, yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Okay, I will start time. Yeah. I'm thinking a little bit differently about empathic direct action. I'm actually thinking about establishing and keeping dialogue with the society, with pedestrians, with bystanders, whoever is watching our actions, to start dialogue with them. I stop there.
So your idea of the action is different, and you would like to organize events on the street for bypassers, for people who just watch, and you would like to engage random people and go out to society with empathy.
Yeah. So lately, thanks to crowdfunding on Facebook, we got in Poland, because I'm also in Poland, in Gdańsk. We got an empathy tent, so now we have a tent, very similar tent to the tent we saw in the recording in the movie. And I'm thinking about going to on the street and talking to people.
So you would like to see see more of actions on the street, just going directly to people on the street, and you see this possible because of collecting money through crowdfunding, and your organization in Gdańsk has a tent with the movie recordings inside.
No, I mean the tent looks very similar to the tent we saw in the movie.
Okay, so the tent which you have in Gdańsk is very similar to the one which we could see in the movie before. So you would like to go outside to the society and engage people and spread the idea and share empathy with them?
Yeah, with symbols of empathy circle and symbols of Extinction Rebellion. So to talk about climate catastrophe, to talk about the crisis, also social crisis we experience, because it's both, it's climate injustice, but also social, economical injustice. So everything is kind of intertwined, and just talk about it, what bothers people.
So you would like to go outside and connect with people and engage them in conversation about the climate changes, about the society crisis. So you would like to create a space where all these very important issues could be heard.
Yeah, that's the idea. And empathic direct action can be a mass action. My dream is to organize in some big events, I don't know, COP26, for example, a big event where we talk, where hundreds of us are talking in empathy circles. activist with activists, but maybe activist with witnesses, with bystanders, you know, somebody who just was passing through and look at us and join the circle. My time is up, so this is the moment when I ask you to, it doesn't mean that I have to stop in the middle of the sentence. I can end my thought, my idea, and you can reflect me back, but this is kind of moment for wrapping up.
Okay, so do you want me to
reflect? Yeah.
So you dream about creating a big movement and engaging a lot of people. You would like to see the situation where we have the direct empathy circle with activists, but not only activists. You would like to invite bypassers and people who be there. You would like to welcome them into the circle. And you imagine this movement spreading up and getting bigger, and you want to involve more and more people in this action.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Thank you.
So now it's your turn. You become a speaker and you're choosing someone as your active listener. And it's good to give everyone a chance.
Okay.
However, you can choose whoever you want.
I'm not sure where is, like, okay, I can find participants. Give me a second because I am new to this. Okay. So can I choose Alex?
Okay, I'm here.
Yeah. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. I'm not sure how to make it so I could see you.
You can slide the screen.
Okay.
You can slide the screen.
Okay. Yes, I think I'm all right. So Alex, I am. I would like to. I would really love to live in the world where empathy is present. I would like to give and receive empathy as often as possible, especially with all that is happening in the world right now, with all the tensions and all the crises which are more and more vivid. So what I would like to happen is that we could go to schools and create events there, engage the teachers, and create the empathy circles for them and invite them to take part of this, because they are under a lot of stress, and I would love to give them a chance to be fully heard.
Give chance to Alex.
Okay, yeah, so I heard that you'd like to live in a world where there is more empathy, where you can, where empathy can be given and received, that you'd like to go to schools and engage with teachers. You recognise that they're under a lot of stress. I presume that you'd be there to support them and to teach the process of active listening. Is what I heard there.
Yes.
So would you like to say more on that?
I feel that if we could include teachers in our action, we could really make a big impact and create a world where empathy and nonviolence are present.
Okay, so the teachers are the key to bringing about a world where empathy and non-violence are present.
Yes, thank you. I feel fully heard.
Okay, thank you.
So Alex, your turn. You are become speaker and you choosing your listener.
Okay, so Ryan. Okay, we have you. Okay, so I think I've been drawn to this process of active listening. I think it's a great initiative, a step forward for where Extinction Rebellion goes next. We've seen that the movement has gained a massive amount of attention worldwide, and from that basis, I think we need to find a way to move forward to draw more people in. Disruption has, like I say, gained a massive amount of attention, but there's also resistance out there, and I think we need to find a way to make sure that as many people as possible are drawn in to open up and engage with the ideas. There'll be those that are resistant, those that are sympathetic, but everyone deserves to be heard and have their concerns listened to.
Give a chance to Ryan.
So it's what I'm hearing is that you feel like we're at a point where we're starting to gain a lot of attention, but we're having trouble to gain some members or regular members. And you're wanting to have more people getting involved and being less scared to get involved, I guess.
Yes, I think so. I think I'm not fully engaged myself in the direct action. I mean, it's only last night that I attended a meeting for the first time. I know there was an action in the town near to me. Now, I didn't know any people there, and it's not so easy to turn up at a relatively small event that would have been and to just take part. Some people might find that very comfortable, not everybody does. But I think it'd be easy if there was that process of listening rather than just being in a group, standing in front of a bank, a local council building or something like that where you're waving banners. I think there is that need to do more than that, and listening, asking questions, opening people up and hearing what they have to say, I think is part of that.
So almost like it's getting attention and people know what's going on. They see the signs and they know what XR is, but they're not actually informed on the actual issue that is taking place. They just know that there's people who are protesting against it and getting in their way, I guess. They don't understand the severity or the depth of the issue.
And I think that's absolutely right. But more than that, it's not just that people don't feel informed. People have bits of information, nuggets of information, which it would be useful to draw out of them. They may have questions themselves. And if we give that opportunity to listen to people, to hear their concerns and recognize them, then I think we stand a far greater chance of bringing about the change we're seeking than simply being in a mode where we're fighting the world, where we're fighting the politicians, where we're fighting the banks and the oil companies. We need to find a way to draw people in and not always see it as a huge uphill struggle.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that totally. And I see, so I think what you're saying is like, there actually has to be conversation happening between general public and activists for them to see where each other are coming from.
Sure. And if we look at the 3 demands of Extinction Rebellion, rather than repeating those demands over and over, we could reframe it to draw people in and ask the questions. You know, what is the truth? What needs to be done? How can we make more effective decisions together? And in that way, rather than repeating a message that people may have already heard, then rethink it and draw people in that way. Thank you.
Ryan, you this is just the signal for wrapping up. I'm showing the time's up, but let's reflect back what Alex said. You feel distracted.
Yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
But Alex, you can repeat what you were saying and let's try to wrap up the idea.
Yeah, it was just an idea of another way of engaging people rather than repeating demands, asking questions. You know, what is the truth? Because we have our own truth. We see the scientific evidence and we have certain beliefs about that, but other people will see things differently. And if we ask what their truth is, what they think needs to be done, and how we can make better decisions together without being antagonistic, I think that's what I'm looking for.
So just to engage the general public and have them involved in getting some feedback from them on how they perceive what is being said.
I think so, yes.
Okay. So
Thank
now
you.
it's your turn. Now it's your turn, Ryan. You become a speaker and you're choosing active listener.
Okay. I'll choose Edwin.
Okay, listening.
I'm fairly new to XR, I guess. I've been in it for about 2 months now in Calgary. We've had a few actions and a lot of meetings and stuff. We seem to be having trouble getting people to come to our meetings, and not come to our meetings, but come back and be active with our group. And I agree. It seems with what everybody's saying is like we need to have some events that I guess I wouldn't necessarily consider actions. They'd be like an informative event, sort of, where people could come and learn about the issues that are going on. And if they don't want to come out and wave a banner or a flag or be on the street, then maybe we could show them other ways that they can help in their daily life. Whether
Okay, can I reflect that first? So what I'm hearing is that you're new to XR and you've been to some of the meetings and some of the actions, and that sounds like the local chapter there is having difficulty keeping people involved, and that you're thinking that maybe one way would be is to not just do actions, but have some kind of events where people could kind of become more informed maybe about the issues.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's also a difficult area in the sense that Calgary is like a very big energy city. So energy is a part of a lot of these people's daily life, in the sense that it's how they pay for their food every day. Like, this is their jobs. So it's really interesting there's people like some members are their husband, like her husband works in the oil company. And it's just like, this is a part of like our daily life, but I know that there's smaller things I can do around to make changes and do my part and contribute without having to be on the street and risk him getting in trouble from his employer.
So you're being in Calgary, it's a place with a large oil industry, so a lot of people's jobs are connected to that. So it's that's sort of the environment, the situation there, and there's for example, one woman who her husband is in the oil industry, and she can do some things whereas he can't, because he might get be fired from his job, let go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I guess I just feel like we need to find more ways for people to get involved without feeling like they need to be on the street, and like what they can do to actually help make a change happen.
So you're seeing that XR, the local chapter, needs to find ways of involving people where they don't have to do these direct actions, which may get them in trouble, but they can still take some kind of action. And so I need to sort of design those ways people can get involved.
Yeah, and it's rough because it's everybody in the city. It's somebody's uncle or somebody's grandfather, or like somebody themselves. Like everyone is in the industry, or so it's tough who you bring things up to, and who hears you.
Yeah, it's a real challenge because everybody has a relative that's involved in the oil industry in that industry. So you have to kind of sort of navigate that, and it's difficult. Yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah, I feel heard.
Okay. Then I'll speak to. I'm gonna mess up your name, Katarzyna.
Katarzyna.
Katarzyna. Okay. Yeah,
Katarzyna.
Okay, so I'll speak to you if it's okay. So, yeah, I was hearing what I was hearing you speak about was, empathy in education, and others are talking about, sort of empathy on the streets, and, empathy maybe in difficult situations, creating more empathy. So it's good to, I was feeling good that everybody's sort of thinking of, ways of bringing empathy into, more of an empathic mindset into XR. So it felt good to see that, encouraging for me.
So you were happy to hear that our group looked at different ideas how to bring EXR into existence in different areas of life. So you've heard ideas about bringing XR into education, on the street, and in different formulas introduce this idea to random people, also those people who are not activists but could be in some way involved.
Yeah, and then I was thinking, I have a lot of different thoughts, but the one that comes up is, what Carolina was talking about, the listening to the public. And so I'm starting to think now about this COVID, this coronavirus, that, whole countries like Italy are shut down. It's like incredible. So, and that seems to be spreading, and so there's just more anxiety. So I think that's going to put a real damper on sort of direct street actions. So I'm just kind of thinking about that.
So you are thinking about idea which Carolina presented, going out to the street and organizing actions with bypassers. And as much as it's important to you, you feel the current situation with coronavirus may may impact
Mhm.
such events, and it may be more difficult to go to the street, especially with the situation in Italy, where streets are empty and the anxiety around coronavirus is spreading.
Yeah, and in our area where I am in the Bay Area, our county, the health department said they recommend no meetings with more than 50 people. So kind of large gatherings, they're trying to discourage that. And the University of California, Berkeley, they're shutting down and doing everything online. So there's just this slow shutting down of a lot of these different events. And so it's just a reality that we have to deal with, for this time. Hopefully in the summer it'll get better, but in our area for the next couple months, it looks like it's getting worse in our area for maybe a couple months.
Mm-hmm. So you are very concerned looking at what's happening around the Bay Area where you live, where the gathering of more than 50 people is being prohibited. And you also concerned about the Berkeley University being shut down and transforming into e-learning.
Mm-hmm.
And you are just very concerned about that, about all the anxiety around this situation. And you are hoping that the situation will not prolong for more than few months.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, you think that this is the new reality which we need to prepare for.
Yeah, and one thing is we can do more online. This might be a good time for sort of community building within XR, right? It's like bring people together, have empathy circles, not just on direct action, but what's happening for you in your life, what's going on with you. And we use empathy building skills to practice the skills now online, as well as sort of build connections in community. So in preparation, and when this virus issue is passed, that we're sort of prepared to take street actions. Yeah.
So you would like to take this downtime to build the community and to practice empathic listening online, in order to first of all create this sense of community and give a chance to people, especially in this time, being heard. And this could also serve a preparation for a lot of XR actions in real world when the coronavirus crisis is over.
I feel very well heard. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I don't know, do we continue? Do we have more people, or are we all?
Yeah. Now, well, my connection is not stable. I'm not sure if you hear me.
I hear you.
Okay, so Katarzyna, now it's your turn. You become speaker and you're choosing another listener.
All right. So maybe I will choose you, Carolina, since we are close.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So
okay, I'm listening.
Okay. So for a long time now, I have this feeling like we really need a lot of empathy and we need to connect. And for last few years, I was trying to organize as many events as possible where people could physically be in the same space. And I was trying very hard to take people away from the screens. But under circumstances, I kind of, I think it happened like in the last few days where I've realized that there is no point of standing against the flow. And I really need to accept the reality and the situation is as it is. And even if I feel that I need the personal connection with other human beings, I need to accept the fact that coronavirus is spreading and people may not want to be in the same space with me. So I see great value in using the electronic platforms to build the community and to give and receive empathy.
Let me reflect that. So you spent few years of bringing people together in space, talking face to face, kind of pulling people from the screens, from the computers, and meeting in person. And you see the great value of empathy and need for empathy, because you see the lack of empathy in interpersonal relations. But now you start thinking that maybe it's counterproductive to try to resist this tendency of connecting through internet and using electronic platforms. And you see, especially because of coronavirus situation, you see that maybe electronic platform can be used to build community. Is that what you mean?
Yes, yes. I think that we can use media and all the software like Zoom or Skype to build very strong community, practice the skills, and having that, we could really make a change in the world.
So you see the opportunity, the possibility to use electronic media like Zoom or Skype to connect and to build community and to make a change in the world.
Yes. Last night I had a conversation with a very lonely woman from Milan, and I've realized that it's perhaps more important than till now to really connect with people using this platform like Zoom or Signal or whatever. So I feel a big need for connecting regardless of the situation outside.
So regardless the situation outside, the coronavirus situation, you see a great need for connecting, communicating with each other. And last night you were talking with the woman from Milano who was very lonely, and even more you see even more this need for connecting.
Yes, thank you. I feel fully heard. Thanks, Carolina.
Thank you. And Alex, would you listen to me?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
So I'm listening to you speak.
Yes,
Carolina.
yes. I'm thinking what I want to say. I would like to see, obviously, in safe situation when there is no danger of any epidemic danger, but I would like to see a great big gathering somewhere in the square of the city, people just sitting and talking with each other, not looking at their smartphone, but looking at their faces and talking to each other. And I'm thinking how to do that, how to make it happen. I stop there.
Okay, so I hear that when it would be safe to do so, you would like to take part, organise a big gathering in the city where people are talking to each other face to face without the smartphones, and
when they don't watch their smartphones, but they don't check their smartphones, but talk to each other. Yeah.
So so I hear that interpersonal communication is very important, the face-to-face, the human touch.
And I'm thinking how to do that, how to achieve this moment when we can, when few hundred people can meet in one place and perform such action. And we need a lot of facilitators, a lot of people who can facilitate those small talks, small circles of 4 or 5 people. And we need to build this brigades of facilitators. I'm trying to find the right words because I don't want to use military language, so maybe network of facilitators, peace brigades of facilitators who can organize that.
So you're thinking about how you could bring about this big gathering in the city that would need a lot of facilitators, whether we call that a brigade or not, a network of facilitators. You've identified that as a requirement, that these people would be required to organize, facilitate, and to listen.
And this is something we can do online, I think. And we just need to make people get familiar with the method, with the circle, empathy circle, feel comfortable with the method. And next step is trying your own circle.
Okay, so you recognize that that facilitators can build their skills online and then go out and organize their own empathy circles to listen.
So I hope we can manage. So coronavirus is not the obstacle for us, I hope. Maybe if people can't go on the street and organize NVDA, maybe in the meantime they will join our calls and learn empathy circle to become a facilitator for another empathy circle and another empathy circle. Maybe that's how it will spread, disseminate.
Okay, so we're recognizing that currently there is this issue of coronavirus with large gatherings, but hopefully we'll get over that and we'll be able to spread empathy circles ever wider.
Well, I mean that now it's not an obstacle for us because we can do part of the process online. That's what I mean. So we can learn Empathy Circle online. We can spread that idea. Everybody who learn, get familiar with the method can do that with on their own, so to speak.
Okay,
So
so
that's the idea.
So we can use technology to spread the ideas. While there is coronavirus, we don't have to stop organising and listening and spreading the ideas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I feel fully heard. That's my time.
Thank
So
you.
now it's your turn. You can choose whoever you want.
But I don't think Ryan has had a turn in this round, but I think you listened to me last time, Ryan.
Yeah, so you can choose somebody else.
I'll choose Katarzyna. Okay.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Just a reflection on this process to start. I think I've taken part in something similar quite a few years back now, and in the meantime I've forgotten how difficult it is, this active listening process. I think it's been noted that quite often in a conversation all we're doing is waiting for our turn to speak rather than to really listen to the other person. So it's been a useful exercise this tonight to take part in this. So so beyond that,
Katarzyna, would you like to try to reflect that?
Yes, please. Okay, so because you took part of this kind of action a few years ago, you already forgotten how difficult it is to do active listening, because most of the time when we are engaged in conversation, when someone speaks, we already preparing the answer. So very rarely we take time to focus on what the person is actually saying. So you find difficult to focus and listen actively tonight?
yes, I think that's right. And I'd say I found it a very useful exercise tonight. So so beyond that observation, as I say, I met up with a local group in my local town, Stockport, near Manchester, and they're a good group of people. They're organising meetings, they're putting together leaflets, they're planning their next action, asking questions at the local council. So it's good to know that there is an active group that is quite local to me, and I shall raise it at the next meeting that I've taken part in this exercise tonight, and invite them to start or to practice an empathy circle at some point in the near future.
Mm-hmm. So you made this observation about active listening, and you went to a meeting in your hometown, Stockport, Manchester, where group of activists met to gather to talk about the ideas and actions which they could organize, like giving leaflets on the streets and spreading the idea of and awareness. And you were thinking about bringing this active listening to that organization. I'm not sure if I.
Yes, no, that's fair enough. And I mean, because I'm new to it, it may be something they've already heard of. It may be something they've already practiced, but certainly I need to find out, you know, if they have done something like it, whether they'll do it again, whether it's new to them, whether we could start it. So that's a conversation that I will have next time with them.
Mm-hmm. Because you are new to this organization and to this group, you are not certain if they practice empathic listening. but you certainly would like to check and find out. And if they do, you want to be part of it. If they don't, you would like to bring this value into the group in the near future.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's all I have to say, and I feel fully heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. So is it my turn to be a speaker? Yeah. All right. Sorry, I am a little lost, but okay. Then I will choose Edwin to be this.
Ryan hasn't had a turn this time around. If
you
want to, just okay. I know you might not be able to see because you're on a small screen.
Yeah, I have you broken down. So okay, so Ryan, would you be willing to listen to me?
Yeah.
Okay. I am very excited that I joined this conversation tonight, and I've heard about Extinction Rebellion, and it was exciting what this organization is doing, but I never thought that I could be part of this action. So I'm very honored and happy that I'm here. And recently I have this experience that I am really checking carefully what is mine and what isn't. And I also have this longing for belonging. And of course, I would like to have a life where, like, meaningful life where I offer my energy in empathic way.
Would you give a chance to Ryan, because it's a lot?
Thanks, of course.
Sorry. So it sounds like you're saying that, like, you're happy. Before you were feeling like, as one person, you couldn't really make a huge difference or do anything about what's going on with climate change and everything else going on in the world. But finding XR has made you realize, or whether XR or this group here has found that, like, a bunch of people together can work together to make a difference.
Yeah.
It is possible to do something to make things better.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling less hopeless.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and right now my head is full of ideas. I can't wait to. I'm going to Gdańsk in April, and I can't wait to talk to Carolina about, or perhaps in April. We are already doing this action.
Wow.
And we go on the street, or maybe we can involve Personal Democracy Forum in this activity.
Okay, so you're going to Gdańsk?
Mm-hmm.
And what is the action that you're doing there? You're going to block the street?
I'm going to Gdańsk for Personal Democracy Forum, which is a conference. And I think that this could be a great opportunity to organize an auction and to organize XR auction. Have some activists at this conference, perhaps, and spread awareness. And I'm thinking that maybe I can write to the organizers of this conference and introduce them to this idea and see their reaction.
So you're hoping to get a hold of them, the people organizing the forum, and see if they're okay with you having some action there and trying to get some of the attendees involved with your local chapter, or just get them more informed at least.
Yeah. And of course, I would like to continue the work which I started with the schools, because I think education is a key factor in spreading awareness and sharing empathic way of thinking and living.
So you want to just continue sharing what you've learned about how empathy is important in daily life.
In education, through education, I would like to bring up awareness about how important empathy is.
Like in the public education system.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that people are learning from a young age how important empathy is.
Yeah, thank you. I feel fully heard. Thank you.
Ryan, it's your turn. You choosing somebody who will be listening to you.
Okay. Carolina?
Okay, I will listen to you.
I think it's a really great timing for this meeting. At the end of the month, our local chapter is planning a small action outside of what is becoming known in the news as the War Room. It's the Canadian Energy Centre. It's a newsroom that the new Alberta Premier just put $30 million into to put out counter news against green energy and green initiatives.
Can I try to reflect that? Because I hear you not very well, so it might be difficult for me to respond, but I will try, do my best. So you think that this meeting is the great timing because in the end of the month, your group has an action which is called War Room.
So, sorry, we don't know what we're going to call it yet, but we're going to have, we're going to give out comment cards basically and have a comment box for people passing by on the street, asking them what they think of the War Room. And the War Room is the Canadian Energy Centre. So the Alberta Premier just put $30 million into this room. So the War Room is what the general public and the media has started to call it. And it's basically a newsroom to create news content against green energy, green initiatives.
Oh.
So he also just cut $20 million in funding for our provincial parks, but put money into this news agent.
So the whole thing is about the project that is financed by the government in Alberta. The government just cut some funding for green parks and put those money in a project that is kind of you call it newsroom, but it's kind of a propaganda project for for supporting oil industry and fighting against green organization.
Right, exactly. So they're promoting the pipelines, they're promoting the mining, all of that, and kind of trying to say like that the solar and the wind and the gap, like all the green resources are not going to be viable long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like they're making cuts to education and healthcare and all of these other things so that
Mm-hmm.
they do this. And yeah, so what
Mm-hmm.
cool about this is, though, our action is going to be getting comments from people passing by on the street, what they think of the war room. And so it's kind of like maybe we can tweak it a bit to be a more empathy based thing rather than having these comment cards that we don't really know what we're going to do with. Like actually have these discussions with people and get what they're feeling on the situation. Like have the sidewalk talk sort of thing, rather than just taking their comment and what are we going to do with their comment card.
Mm-hmm. So you think that this action you want to create on the street, it was the situation when activists supposed to ask people who are on the street, asking them for a comment on this project, financing oil industry, fossil fuels industry, newsroom and propaganda. And you think that it's kind of difficult what to do with the comments, but creating a dialogue and elements of empathic listening and reflection give a chance for interaction with the other person. So suddenly something happens with the comment, changing the dynamic of the situation.
Because even like,
is that what you mean?
Because if you're walking by on the street and somebody hands you this comment card and it's like it says extinction, like it's not going to the government, we're just getting what they're feeling. But it's a whole different thing when you can stand there and listen to what they're saying and respond in the moment.
So yeah, it's much better than just collecting comments on from on the street from other people. Yeah. Time is up. It's okay. Maybe.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I do feel fully heard. I forgot to say that.
Okay. Okay. I just, because sometimes we have the last thought, the last sentence to say. It's important to kind of wrap up. Okay, so maybe I choose Edwin. Edwin,
Hey, listening. Just wanted to mention I am taking notes on our meeting if you wonder what I'm doing. So it's in the Google document. So, yep, listening.
Yeah. I'm listening what all of us saying, and for example, what Alex was saying, and I'm taking a lot from all of you. And there is an idea that came to me when Alex was speaking in the first round. I realized that typical NVDA, nonviolent direct action, is in theory of nonviolence is called obstructive action. It's obstruction, it's disruption, it's blocking. There is obstructive aspect of NVDA when empathic direct action is actually constructive.
So you're listening to everyone. You're sort of like thinking about this, and you're seeing that nonviolent direct action has a sort of a disruptive, a disruptive.
I use word obstructive.
Oh, obstructive. It's an obstructive sort of a process, whereas empathic direct action is a constructive, or it's a constructive sort of a process.
Yeah. So it's the difference. Both are direct actions, but the value is different. It was kind of discovery during this call. I realized that.
Sounds like you had sort of an epiphany and an insight that came to you. It's like, oh, this was an insight you gained by listening. So maybe you're feeling good about this sort of clarity and insight that you have.
Yeah, because in theory of nonviolent movement, there is this concept of obstructive and constructive activity, and suddenly I discovered that NVDA might be constructive. I always thought about NVDA in terms of something obstructive, something that is resistance, that is disruption, and suddenly we develop the idea that NVDA, in our case, it's empathic EDA, empathic direct action, might be constructive actually.
So you've been seeing nonviolent direct action as sort of an obstructive resistance, sort of a mindset feeling to it. But then you're having the insight that, oh, it can actually be sort of this constructive process. It has a general constructive aspect to it.
Yeah, and the aspect of building different kind of relations with other people is kind of triggering, provoking processes, different processes in our culture, helping people discover that it might be differently.
I didn't quite get that, but something about that we can show people that things can be done differently. Is it? Yeah, I didn't quite get that.
Okay, I will try once more. Yeah, it might be difficult, or maybe I speak not very clearly. I mean that we can build something constructive, something positive, show people that create different relations with strangers. Okay, because we meet people on the street, they are strangers to us, we are strangers to them, and suddenly relation between strangers can be something positive. And we start creating a trend in culture of building different relations between strangers.
So you're seeing that this can be sort of a constructive. It's even for the public will be able to see that this is a constructive aspect, and it's done through developing a relationship with the people who we meet on the street. Plus, that they will sort of have a sense of the constructive aspect of it.
Yeah.
Do you mean that the public will see the constructive aspect of this work?
Yeah, and it's initiating a different process in a society. We don't fighting on the street, we communicating, we building relations.
I see. So instead of going out to the streets and fighting and disrupting, we're going to the streets to build relationships in a constructive way.
Yeah. It's great constructive job to do.
Yeah, and there's a positive constructive aspect to it that it sounds like you really think that this is a value to the society.
Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Okay, then I'll speak to Ryan. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking of your situation, you know, at the war room, and one thing that could be done is, you know, going to wherever the war room is. I don't know if there's a space, and offering listening to the public, like in that sidewalk talk, listening. Say, what do you think about the war room? Come share your thoughts about the war room, so that people could just be heard about it. You'd be able to hear where people are about the war room.
So yeah, that's actually, so what you're saying is just go sort of outside their offices and have the sidewalk talk there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what our plan. We haven't fully planned out what we were going to do yet, but the plan was to be outside of their office building, being against, promoting, getting information on how the others feel against them.
Yeah, it's okay, Carolina. So yeah, so that was the first part, was just you know, offering listening. The second part is, one of the demands could be, we want an empathy circle with the war room directors, right? It's, we want to bring one of their, you know, directors or someone in the hierarchy, a couple of people, into an empathy circle and have a recorded dialogue like we're having here. So there's a modeling of the listening to the public out in public, and then there's the demand that if we can talk with the public, you know, you should be able to talk with us. And it would, yeah, it would be a way of sort of spreading sort of this empathic mindset. And I think get the public on your side too, that, oh, these people are just trying to create dialogue, you know, we support that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's, so just using the empathy to get to the people in charge of the war room, kind of get engage with the public and then engage with the war room. Fine. Say like, this is what people are feeling, I guess.
But that it's done in an empathy circle, so that it's an explicit demand that we want an empathy circle, you know, with get 4 people, maybe 3, you know, rebels and 1 director, or 2 directors and 2 rebels. Right. And we want a recorded dialogue. And if they won't take part, you can say, why will this group not dialogue, right? You can kind of shame them and put pressure on them for not dialoguing. Like, everybody values dialogue. Why will you not talk with us? And then, we want dialogue, you know.
That's like what their thing is. They're supposed to create dialogue anyway. Just they're not the right thing. So yeah, just having an empathy circle with some rebels and some people from the war room, and then shaming them if they don't want to do it.
Yeah, put pressure on them. And then could even get one of the media. So you've got 2 rebels, bring in somebody from the media, and then one of the directors. So you get the media involved, so they'll kind of write about it. And so that would be and then it's recorded. So then the community sees an empathic dialogues, because you just learn by observation too. So the community will see kind of this constructive empathic dialogue. And it should be at least 2 hours, like minimum.
Okay.
You want to just reflect that back?
So have a 2-hour minimum empathy circle with the directors of the war room, just to kind of promote that dialogue and the importance of it, and engaging the community, or getting the community's voices heard as well within that dialogue.
Yeah, and then another thing that could be done is if there's an occupation, like in front of the war room, I don't know where the war room is or the situation is, but listen to the public, offer, you know, empathic listening to the public, and then hold some empathy circles, like, you know, get some chairs, people in circles, you know, doing empathic listening, learning how to do empathic listening, and then, well, if we can have dialogue, why can't you? We're trying to bring people together. Why will you not bring people together? You know, so you can kind of put pressure on them that way to you know, take part.
Okay. So having, like, whenever the action takes place, having multiple empathy circles with the public as well. And,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel fully heard.
It's your turn, Ryan.
Um,
You become speaker and you're choosing active listener.
Katerina.
Yes, I'm ready to listen.
Oh, I don't know what to say right now. Sorry, can I go later on? I just lost my train of thought again.
You can just let Katarzyna reflect that back and say that you feel fully heard. And that's how you pass your turn.
Okay.
So Ryan, you kind of lost your thought, and you don't want to be heard. You don't know what you would like to say.
Yeah, I would say I feel fully heard.
Thanks.
So now it's your turn, Katarzyna, and
Okay.
you're choosing somebody to reflect you.
So can I choose Alex?
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay. What is alive in me right now is that idea that I really would like to be involved in constructive actions, and that I would really, truly like to invite non-violent actions in my life.
Okay, so I hear that alive in you right now is the idea that you want to take constructive action.
Yes, very much so. And I'm also full of acceptance that some people may have different needs. And I really want to connect to what is mine. So it's very important to me that whatever I do will be constructive, empathic, and non-violent.
So you accept that other people have different needs, but you recognize that it's important to you that you take constructive, direct action.
Yes, and I am not sure how, but I know that that's what I want to do.
Okay, so you're not sure how, but you have a certainty that you know that's what you want to do.
Yes, and I feel fully heard. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you. Okay, I will choose Edwin.
Listening.
I was just listening to Ryan and his situation in Calgary, and it does seem very much like you're on the front line there. And although perhaps my situation is not quite that stark. Nevertheless, in my local town, we are on the flight path to Manchester Airport. What I learned last night is that all the local councils have a stake in the airport, and they get funds from the operation of the airport, and they're dependent on that, and they're going to struggle to break that dependency. And the challenge is that for the economy, they're planning to grow the airport. So that's something I'd not been aware of previously, and it's new food for thought, and it's an idea that I need to engage with, talk about, and think about a way forward on that.
Okay, so you're seeing that Ryan, from what you're hearing from Ryan, he's really in an area that's on the front lines with the oil industry and so forth. And in you have a situation that's sort of on the front lines too, which is being in this flight path of the airplanes, that all the local communities have sort of a stake in the airport, which is going to give resistance. You need to kind of be able to address that, you know, so that those challenges of how to address that.
Yes, it's exactly right to say. I wasn't aware of that relationship between the airport and the councils, and the fact that they do receive quite a bit of money from it. So there's a balance to be had there. We're not going to shut the airport down. Is it going to be possible to stop it growing? There is demand for growth, but everything needs to have a balance, and we do need to think about the long term and what that will do to the planet. So I think it's the beginning of a difficult conversation and engagement with the local group, local people, and the local council. So I want to be a part of that conversation and to see where we can take that, and what the compromises and what the actions we can take for the future.
Mm-hmm. So this was new information to you, the relationship between the communities. So this is going to be a difficult conversation with the community, because they have a stake in the airport, but then the importance of the long term. And you really want to be part of the dialogue and the conversation around this issue. And you see the difficulties that are there, but you do want to be part of it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I can see the challenges for everybody involved, and I think it's an important issue in the context of where we are with climate change, and I want to be part of that challenge of working out a way forward.
So it's a challenging topic. It's a challenging situation to deal with around the climate change. And you would like to be part of that dialogue and that conversation to help people sort of work out those issues, those challenges going forward.
That's exactly right. I feel like it's the beginning of something, a beginning of an engagement in that issue, and I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. So it's just sort of beginning this dialogue and engagement, and you're actually looking forward to being part of this and taking part in this engagement going forward.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So thank you for that. I feel fully heard on that.
Okay, thanks. I guess it'll be probably the last one. I'll speak to Kata, sorry, Sheena.
Yes.
Yeah, so sorry for messing up the name.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a long process, you know, this empathy, you know, I think it's important what we're doing here. You know, we're getting some practice, we're starting to think about it, and it's kind of getting try to get a snowball going to get more people involved, you know, have more circles, have actions that involve people. And I think, yeah, this is a snowball, and I feel it's starting to build, yeah, especially in XR.
So you feel that you're realizing that empathy and creating this empathic movement is a long process which evolves, and it's like a snowball effect. And you start to see that it's bringing, that the energy is accumulating. So there is more and more possible. And you really would like to see building empathy circles and like spreading them throughout the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the
And
whole empathic mindset. You know, the empathy circles is one little kind of a gateway step that's easy to do. It kind of gets you started. But there's a deeper mindset, you know, a deeper values of, you know, openness and seeing our common humanity and care and, you know, collaboration versus competition. So there's a whole set. And I think we sort of model it here in this circle, right? Because everyone's being heard, everyone's acknowledged, everyone has time to speak, everyone will be, you know, heard to their satisfaction. So it's a little bit of a seed here that we have.
mm-hmm. So you feeling that empathic circle is just one tiny element of a bigger process, you see a big value of what we do here, because looking at empathic circle as a tool, you think that this could be a place where everybody is heard and everybody has a chance, an equal chance to participate in this creation. And this could be beginning of creating a new world based on value of connection rather than competition. And it seems like you are excited about it. You kind of feel that this is actually already happening.
Yeah, I do feel excited. I can feel the momentum sort of building. And I do see that there's a, you know, to go deeper over time. There's a lot of pain. I feel there's a lot of pain in the society, and slowly to, you know, as we develop trust, we can share more and more of ourselves and, you know, share the pains and the disconnections and, you know, the hurts and so forth that we have. So it you know, it takes time to, it took a lot of time to, takes a lot of time to build all those pain and disconnection. You know, it takes time to develop that trust and that opening. So I think it's, yeah, I think that's important too.
So you're hoping that through actions like empathic circles and Extinction Rebellion, there is a possibility to cure all the suffering there is in the world. And you see a lot of this, a lot of pain and a lot of hurting. So you hope that by creating empathic environment, we can slowly heal and build trust and bring back the connection between us.
Yes, I feel very heard, and it's our time too. I'm gonna close the room to bring us all back. So I'm hitting the close all room. So it'll give us 60 seconds and we'll be moved into the full room. So I want to thank everyone for listening so well and, you know, being able to feel heard. So thank you.
I thank you too. I thank you too. Thank you for the circle. And let's come back to the main session.
Yeah, you can hit the button.
And we have to wait for the rest of for the second breakout room.
Yeah,
so I will stop recording because I start recording.
Oh, you recorded.
When you, yeah, I stopped recording because you disappeared. So I didn't
I see.
know what's happening. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, I think we have everybody. Okay, well, welcome back. We want to just take about a minute just to perhaps you could go around, share any real insight you had in your group, and or kind of what you liked about the empathy circle. It's always good to get some testimonials. We can use those to promote the practice. So just report back or anything you liked about the practice, perhaps. Carolina, you choose people to.
Okay, so I will follow my screen, and first on my screen is Alex. Would you share with us what is your experience?
Yeah, no, I did enjoy that, and as I reflected in our little group, that it's not that easy, and I think it's a great exercise. I think it raises the awareness that, well, for myself in particular, I maybe not always that great a listener, so it's good to go through this practice and to really focus and reflect. We quite often think we've heard, but it's only when you're put on the spot to reflect back you realise that maybe you weren't paid as much attention as you thought. So a great exercise, and I enjoyed it and appreciated the opportunity to take part.
Okay, thank you. Katarzyna.
I'm very grateful for this time and this exchange of good energy. I feel fully heard, and I really enjoyed listening. So my heart is filled with appreciation and with hope that these small actions and creating the empathic environment makes a huge difference. So thank you very much, all of you.
Julieta. Julieta, would you? Yeah, you.
Yeah. Yeah, likewise. At first, I have to say I felt like nothing was being said, and then I realized I need to listen more carefully, because there was, of course, discomfort of not, talking to a bunch of strangers for the first time, and also trying to see how this will be some sort of support for actions we feel we want to take. So I felt very welcome, and I'm also grateful for that.
Thank you. James?
Hi, I'm going to pass.
Okay. Ryan?
Like Alex said, it's definitely a lot harder to do active listening than it really seems, and it's something that it's going to be good to take back to my local chapter and see how we can get some more engagement out of our people in Calgary.
Thank you. Bill?
Well, I'm always really appreciative of meeting new people from around the world. I'm also very appreciative of people who English is not their first language, but then, there's a young woman who had to leave early. And I'm just really appreciative because it talks about courage or the people to meet somebody for the first time. And that's exactly what I think the changes we need to be. So thanks.
Thank you. Sally, would you share with us?
Well, I really enjoyed the new people and the input, and just the ability of someone to turn around and learn how to do active listening so quickly, and especially, well, I just saw that in the people that had, you know, kind of maybe English as a second language, and that they were doing such an excellent job, and I just liked the opportunity. I don't know, with, I guess, the smaller group, I had a lot of opportunities to speak and listen, and it always gets a little better thinking and learning. And I'm complete.
Yeah. Thank you. So my turn. I had today aha moment. I realized that listening to other participants, I suddenly realized that we have difference between NVDA, nonviolent direct action, and empathic direct action. That nonviolent direct action is obstructive action, is resistance, it's disruption. When empathic direct action is actually something constructive, building something, and that's when I realized that. It looks kind of obvious, but you need to realize that. And that's my discovery today. Thank you. I pass to you,
Okay.
Edwin.
See, in our group, we talked about bringing empathy into the schools, you know, supporting teachers. We talked about bringing it into, like in Calgary, direct actions, again, with some political organizations and how to do that. Talked about, you know, creating large events in like Poland and around the world. And so it was, these are sort of ideas, you know, we've been talking about, and I find it very supportive to be able to talk about it, because sort of ideas, you know, start with the dialogue kind of being heard, and then they slowly grow. So I just kind of feel that this is supporting kind of this growth of these ideas, because we want to do direct, you know, empathic directions here in Berkeley and other places. So it felt good to kind of have those ideas grow until they kind of get manifest. And the other thing was this empathic listening takes practice, 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 you know. So it's like, you don't just do empathy circles one time, empathic listening, and you're like an expert. It's more like doing yoga, or, you know, doing meditation, or doing any other skill. You know, it takes continuous sort of practice and deepening of the practice. So I think I appreciate the opportunity to practice and also to learn from others. So with that said, we have our next circle is this Friday, and it's about how do we address conflict in XR. And then we'll, after that, that'll be at 10 a.m. Pacific time. The events are, you know, on Facebook, and has universal times there that you can check. And then we'll have a Empathy Circles support group. So if you're wanting to, you know, do an action or bring Empathy Circles to your local chapter, you can come, and we're here to support you. You'll get 15 minutes to share your idea, get feedback from the rest of us. And if you're sort of moving along in your idea, you'll be able to get, you know, support and feedback. And so that's a good place. Then next week, we're going to be having, at this time, we'll have another Empathy Cafe. It'll be about Vision 2020 for XR. So those are some things in the works. We also have starting April 4th, we're starting a 10-week series, which we'll announce shortly, about the XR principles. So every Saturday, we're going to have an Empathy Cafe on one of the principles, and we can kind of go in depth about that. And some people that were the founders of XR who developed those principles will be in those and kind of be involved. You can have a chance to talk with them directly as well. So that's I think that's about it. And Carolina, Bill, anything else to add? Did I forget anything? Got everything? Okay. I always worried I'm going to forget something. So thank you very much for taking part, and see you next time. Looking forward to it. Spread the word.
Thank you, everyone.
Hold
Thank you,
empathy
everyone.
circles in your community. It's just get 3 people together and just do an empathy circle with them, and then report back how it went. So
Thank you.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice to meet you.
All right.